The views expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of this station.
Welcome to Insights into Northeast Michigan, a WBKB News public affairs program. Insights deals with the issues affecting those in the community as well as Northeast Michigan and the state. And now, Insights into Northeast Michigan.
Welcome to another edition of Insights into Northeast Michigan. We've had the State of the Union, we've had the State of the State, now we're having our own little State of the City. Joining me today is Mayor Matt Wallagora, the Mayor of the City of Alpena. Matt, thanks for joining me today.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it is a great morning, and you know, when we think about this past year, so much has gone on. Everything's been going on. I mean, we have so many different things happening in the city, so many changes, policies, things are constantly happening. When you reflect back to last February and where we are now, how do you think things have come along?
February seems like a really long time ago, last February, but I think most people would agree that the city is in better shape than it was a year ago, and we continue to make improvements with just about every facet. The teams that are together with the Chamber and the DDA and the CVB and Economic Development and all the groups and the volunteer groups. If I started to list off things that have changed and improved since last February, that would take up your whole segment. So, but I think things have gone really well.
Is there anything specific that you're really proud to see that has really transformed over the years? Is there anything that stands out personally to you?
Not personally, I don't suppose. I think we've seen a lot more community involvement over the years, and certainly in the last year, as far as the community getting together. I often say that city government doesn't do a lot when it comes to things like festivals and the covered bridge and huge projects that we'll talk about a few as we go. But the atmosphere downtown. So as far as city government goes, we get out of the way and we try to do what we can to help those the individuals and groups that are getting together. So things that stand out are just probably more summertime than now, but just the atmosphere downtown and in the city in the summertime, and the ship coming in twice last year, the Great Lakes cruise ship. Those are things that I really didn't have a lot to do with. But just those are memorable.
It's great to see our city embracing new things and different things, especially, I mean, you mentioned the cruise ships. I thought that was a pretty spectacular sight to see. Yeah,
and we hope for more in the future. The adage that they won't, ships like that and visitors won't come that 11 miles off of the main, I'll call it the Great Lakes Highway, for lack of better terms. I'm not a Great Lakes traveler, but we're determined to prove that wrong, and that people will come across the bay to visit us, and we'll be ready when they do.
Obviously, one of the biggest issues has been water sewer litigation. I think a lot of people, have had eyes on that. You see groups getting together to talk about how can we fix this. It's been probably the biggest issue, or one of the biggest issues in the past couple of years. What do you think is going to happen in this upcoming year? Do you think that we could see an end to this, or where do you feel this problem gets resolved?
Given another year, you're asking, I would certainly expect that in 2019 we're going to get this resolved. Now, if you'd asked me that same question 4 years ago, I'd have probably given you the same answer. So not really knowing what the future holds in the litigation and the issues that we share with the township, it's really hard to say. I'd hate to put a date on it. Things are going to move forward one way or another, and I understand the frustration that everybody has. And with that said, personally, just as a government leader, I'm determined to do what I feel is best for the long-term maintenance and viability of the system itself, and a fair rate with both our city residents and township residents, and that's what we're striving for. And it's been difficult to say the very least, but but we're continuing to move. It's moving, and hopefully the biggest frustration is how much we spend, obviously. But I would have to say from the city's perspective, as far as spending goes, we're probably on the downside of what we've have to spend. As far as money goes, we've exhausted a lot of resources in professionals, professional advice, professional attorneys and things, and so hopefully we've got all of that established, and now we can start to move forward and get it resolved. So whether that happens inside or outside the court, I really couldn't. I don't have a crystal ball, so I really couldn't say, but one way or another, it's going to move forward.
Up next on Insights into Northeast Michigan, we talk about City Council's thoughts and actions on medicinal and recreational marijuana. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Let's continue our conversation with Mayor Matt Waligora.
Another issue that's arisen over this past year has been the legalization of recreational marijuana. And, obviously medical marijuana has been around for a while. What are the city council's positions on these two facets coming into our area, our city?
Yeah. Let's, I'll briefly cover medical marijuana because like you said, it's been around. It was legalized in 2008. In 2010 and 12, the state got the laws and perspective a lot more ironed out. It took a long time, and so now we're actually at the point, as far as the council as a whole, we've directed the planning commission to do some to look around at the areas in Alpena, because that group, the planning commission, probably has the most knowledge as far as where things would fit. There's five different facets of medical marijuana, and we can either allow or disallow any one or all of those five. And so we've got them looking at where they might fit in the city of Alpena, and then we'll visit that and come to an agreement as to what, if any, we allow. Recreational marijuana, I think everybody kind of knows where that's at, as far as the laws are incredibly vague. Sometimes there's actually parts of the law that don't coincide with other parts of it. And so when something contradicts itself like that, we want to be very careful as a city. I'd say as a whole, we're not completely opposed to it, to allowing legalized marijuana facilities in Alpena. We have yet to vote on something like that, but right now we're not even really looking to vote, just because what I see happening is the cities that do opt in, they're going to opt in. The law is so vague and contradicting that there'll probably be some lawsuits between the parties in order to get those ironed out. Either that or the state will be quick enough to get those laws ironed out, which would be the better of the two. And so we just really didn't want to partake in a lot of that right now. We would rather either the state and Lara get the laws ironed out where it's understandable, like medical marijuana is, and then it'll be much easier for us to make an opinion. So I see the council opting out of recreational marijuana for the time being. It looks like the governor and the current legislation are pushing to get the laws ironed out a lot quicker than medical marijuana, which is going to be a good thing for us, just so we know what we're dealing with. And then we'll revisit recreational in the future, maybe possibly later in 2019. Medical marijuana will be, I would encourage residents to watch our meetings on YouTube or come directly to our meetings if they'd like to speak either for or against that, because we'll probably be making a decision here in the next couple months as far as what we'll do with medical marijuana.
So there's a lot happening in downtown. I mean, we just had a Big B Coffee put in. Northland Area Financial Credit Union is putting their headquarters right over there.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. Thunder Bay Theater is getting a new lobby. How have you felt about all this economic increase, I would say? You know, a lot of different businesses coming up here and setting up shop in Alpena.
It's great. I mean, that's the simple thing to say, obviously. That's good. We've got 2019 is going to see a lot of improvements and changes. the Inspirations Brewery in the old Hallmark store is looking to reopen or open up their business, brewery restaurant there. Harborside Cycle is moving from the Harborside Mall to downtown in the old Steffens building. I stopped in there the other day, and we'll probably, I've heard we'll probably see some more movement on the renovations of the old Dry Dock bar. And those are just downtown. Those are just focused on downtown. And really the cool part about all three of those projects is none of those businesses are just moving in and changing the shelves. They're completely renovating the store and the front. The two right downtown that I mentioned are tearing out and looking at restoring the tin roof, the tin ceiling, and things like that that'll bring back the old culture of the downtown. And so a lot of movement on that, things of that nature. And we're looking to have the same festivals that we had last year, as far as I know. And then just last week, the Blues Festival announced that they're rebranding themselves and moving downtown, which we couldn't be happier for. That's just any more on the 2nd Avenue and downtown that we can draw people down there. That's just fascinating, just fantastic. It's good stuff. So.
Now, you've been here a lot longer than I have, so my knowledge of the past years here in downtown are different. Would you say this is probably one of the better times that Alpena has seen in the past couple of years, or would you say we've been trending upwards since?
Still trending upwards. I think every year we generally say, wow, we're really improved. You look back 10 years ago, and it's almost a completely different atmosphere and downtown. And that's, in my perspective, that's just really all about putting the right people in the right places, the organizations that I mentioned earlier, and then all of the smaller groups around town and councils. The art culture downtown has improved, or anywhere in Alpena, not just downtown, but with the sculptures around town and we could talk about it all day. And so, you look back 10 years ago and somebody that hasn't been here since probably wouldn't even recognize or believe that it's changed so much. And every year you almost think, wow, it's probably going to slow down at some point. But it just continues, and that's, like I said, that's really just a testament to our community and the people in it that are come out and put the hard work and finances into it and get things to change.
Mishikiwis Park obviously was the center of a heated discussion last year, if you will, with the RV park. That was taken off the plan, but now there are other improvements and things that want to be added to this park. Why do you think it's so important to make Mishikiwis shine?
Probably just because it's so big and it's set doing nothing for so long. Probably the biggest reason. And and I think it's really good time right now to discuss it, to get the plan put together, and then put as much of that plan together as we can and start to move forward. The last thing I want to do is make a really great plan and then it sets undeveloped for another 10 years. And that's the difficult part. It's putting a good plan together and getting something really great for that park is one thing. Getting the finances and the money together to do it is another. But I don't think anybody should let that stand in our way. Let's make the plan first and then get moving on it. But I would really like to see it move forward. And I think that can happen when you get people together and you know what you're doing. You look at the South Corridor coming into Alpena and how much they've done with nothing more than two guys walking and picking up trash over the years, turned it into a really fantastic plan. And we're going to see a lot more of that. And they didn't worry about how that was going to be funded, and we shouldn't either. We should start to move forward. And the debate about the RV park, I look back at that now, and I was pro RV park. I thought it would be a good plan, and that's okay with me that everybody, or that a vast majority of people weren't. But what that did was that it got people out and talking and say, okay, well then let's do something with it. And a lot of ideas came from that discussion. Same with two-way streets downtown. I was in favor of that, but I know I'm getting off topic. But a lot of times getting a discussion going and getting a debate, whether it's heated or not, gets people passionate about it and gets groups formed. And then when groups form, they start to make things happen. So Mishkewis Park is by far one of the bigger projects that we'll start to plan for in the next probably year to 5 years. So hopefully we see some real improvement there.
Definitely fuels ideas. I mean, because when they had that discussion, there were a lot of ideas proposed for Mishkewis Park that would really help elevate it, you know, bring it to I guess more of a modern touch, if you will, living in this modern day. So it was pretty interesting to hear a lot of these different ideas come back and forth.
Yeah, yep, and there's some really great ones out there. You've probably seen them. One of them is one of your coworkers here, Joe, and you know, and just you look at a plan like that, and it's and you asked why Mishkewis is on the radar now, and it's big. And it's in a great location. You know, you start to, that's right at the verge of coming into what's actually the city of Alpena. And so to improve that and make it really something great would be outstanding. It's on the bike path. It's near stores and restaurants. It's just, it's a great location. So
great destination for tourists as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Up next, we'll wrap up our conversation with the mayor of Alpena.
Where do you see the city needs to improve over this next year?
Improvements in the city, speaking as a whole, I think if we just keep going, just keep improving, keep going. The downtown's improving. The city itself as a government, we will, you know, our goal is to get through some of the more controversial issues that you mentioned, obviously the water litigation. The marijuana issue, we're going to hit that head on this year. From my personal perspective, that's not going away. It's not something, you look across the country as a whole, marijuana, both medical and recreational, in my opinion, isn't going away. And so my focus will be more on preparing for it and doing the right thing for Alpena rather than saying, rather than thinking that it's going to go away and we won't have to deal with it if we just opt out. Opting out is easy, but seeing how we're going to deal with it because in the next, it's going to be, you know, the next 5, 10, 15 years, again, in my opinion, the nation's going to see it, the country's going to see it, the state as a whole is going to see it. Anybody that's old enough knows that marijuana's been here for longer than you and I. And so it's something that I would rather deal with and focus on how we can make that work in Alpena. Other budgeting issues, obviously we're in the midst of February, and so we've got to be cognizant and careful about our DPW costs. We'll probably see some more water main breaks this year just because of the temperature and the fluctuation in the temperature that we saw a weekend ago. Those tend to move the ground and move pipes, and so we budget for that and snow removal and salt. You know, just improving, constantly improving, and we've got a great team of departments right now that find the best way to cut costs in our necessities with getting grants for police vehicles that we need to continue to update. And ambulances, we do a lot of long distance transfers, so our ambulances take their toll, and our chief there and DPW maintenance has really done a fantastic job of finding alternative and more cost-reduced ways of improving that. And so just getting our budget in a row. That's what city government is here for, is to spend people's money wisely. We've got a CIP, that's a capital improvement plan, CIP meeting, joint meeting with the Planning Commission I'm going to say it's on the 20th at 6 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock. I should have made sure, but people should check the calendar. If you're interested in that, to know where the city's spending money. I know we did a controversial 1% increase or 1% fee on people's taxes last year. Those costs are, in our opinion, are a necessity. That'll free up money in the budget for other things that people want and have asked us for. Anything from leaf removal to getting more sidewalks clear to snow removal to different improvements in the city, and I think it's going to be money well spent. And if people have questions about that, I encourage them to come to our CIP meeting, which very few people do. But it's interesting, and of course they can always call the clerk or go online and take a look at our budget. Everything's outlined online, and so in the next year will be as challenging as the last. But we've got a great group, and that's what we do as a government.
And there are resources there for folks to check out too, so it's not like people have to feel in the dark. People can access these things, they can go to meetings, they can be involved without actually physically being there.
Yeah. You know, that's again, social media. We've all of our meetings are posted on video on YouTube, and so you can now you can fast forward through them if something's we're chatting about something you're not interested in. You can fast forward to topics that might interest you more, and so I always encourage people to take a look. That way you can see what I had to say. You can see what the other council people had to say about that. That it's not all just a lot of those. The vast majority of our topics aren't discussed prior to the meeting, and so you get to really see what we have to say about it and how we come about the decisions that we make. And of course, those resources are also online. We try to stay ahead of the state laws as far as transparency goes. So, and if you have trouble finding something online, our clerk or engineering department are both available by telephone or myself to help you navigate through the website. I say it's easy, but I'm on there quite often. So if you're on there and you're looking for something and you can't find it, definitely give someone a call or shoot me a message, and I'll help you navigate through that.
So we're into 2019. It's going to be another exciting year. What are you looking forward to?
Personally, well, 2019 is election year for me. My second term is up this year, and so we'll take a look at that. And my interest right now is to continue on, and we'll see how that pans out. But so that'll be on the radar later in the year. 2019 is, like I said, it's just we're just looking to continue to work with all the groups that are making improvements to the city and moving forward. Nothing really sticks out to me, I guess. But the two biggest topics that we kind of talked about, the Planning Commission and the Rec Committee will get together and start to make improvements. Or an improvement plan for Mishkewis Park and our parks in general, and people will be there. We broadcast everywhere. We'll make sure that all the media knows about that. There'll be public meetings. There'll be, they call them charrettes, I believe, where people get together and put all their ideas together on paper. So that's going to be really big this year. But other than that, just continuing to move forward and reaching out to the outside world and letting them know what we're doing here in Alpena.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time, Mayor. We do appreciate it. That's all the time we have for Insights into Northeast Michigan. Join us next Sunday.
Insights into Northeast Michigan is produced by WBKB News. If you have any comments, suggestions, or topics you would like to see on a future show, please email WBKB News. This has been a production of Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation. All rights reserved.
The furniture and set design for this episode of Insights is provided by Young Appliance Art Van Furniture on US 23 South, Alpena.